Premier League live with Talksport.
Oh my goodness me, Liverpool have given it away!
Oh, that's absolutely comical.
We've got every single goal, every single weekend of the season.
And there's the header, and there's the goal!
That's so much meat. It's the full carvery. It's the turkey, the beef and the lamb.
It's spectacular! And he is red hot! Oh, it's magnificent! It is perfection!
Premier League live with Talksport.
You are listening to Talksport's coverage of Manchester United against Brighton and Hove Albion from Old Trafford. I'm your host, Russell Hargreaves. Alongside me is the former Stoke City, Reading and Portsmouth striker Dave Kitson. And this is Premier League Live. After a troubled few days, to put it mildly, United boss Erik ten Hag will be desperate for his players to make a big statement on the field this afternoon as they return from the international break. Likely, though, to be far from easy against a high-flying Seagull side who continue to impress under the brilliant Roberto De Zerbi, and who, despite being the away team, start as many people's favourites for victory today. That's how much the balance of power between these two appears to have shifted in recent times. Dave is alongside me. We'll go through some of those off-field issues for United over the course of our build-up, but it should be a really interesting game this. Really looking forward to it. Good afternoon.
How are we doing? You okay?
Yeah, good. What do you reckon?
Do you know, it is one of those. Not you know me. I don't fence it usually when I can possibly help it. I like to call it either way just to test myself. But in this game, you don't know what United is going to turn up. No one's got any idea. You don't know what has affected them during the week. They've got some new signings out there. Brighton. Yeah, they're playing well, but I do remember watching the West Ham game at home and they got battered, and I mean battered, and I'm just wondering whether that's going to make a difference as well.
It's a really good point, isn't it? There was a kind of tactical masterclass from David Moyes to sort of hit the opposition on the break and really turn them and kind of scramble them slightly.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's what United did to Arsenal the other day. They were quite unlucky not to get something from that game, but you would think, well, United, they can probably do it better. They've got better players, so if they play that way against Brighton, they frustrate them. They do have better players on the counter to really hurt Brighton. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it was an incredible game that against Arsenal, where you thought Garnacho had scored the winner for United, offside rightly or wrongly, and then the fallibility of Man U's, obviously they then shipped two after that.
Well, the most bizarre thing about that, if you take mistakes individually, is Arsenal slung every single corner to the back post in that game. Every single corner went to the back post. And the last one of the game goes to Declan Rice and he scores, and you think, you know what, you get what you deserve.
All right, so we mentioned quickly some of those off-field issues. There is no Anthony today, leave of absence, of course, after recent assault allegations that he strenuously denies. Jadon Sancho is a huge issue, not involved, and that's what we understand it, possibly leaving the club entirely at some stage. Total breakdown in communication with his boss, or Harry Maguire issue as well. There is a lot going on behind the scenes at this club heading in.
There's a huge amount going on. I mean, the Jadon Sancho, the thing is, stuff like that is usually squashed in the womb, at any football club. I know United it's this behemoth of a football club, but Ten Hag didn't do himself any favours. A journalist says to you, why is Jadon Sancho not training? Oh, because he's not had to scratch it. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? He's already had the Ronaldo issue, so he knows the British media. You don't go saying that. You go, a decent manager, you have a word, you get them back in, you make them feel part of it. I think there is some fallibility with Ten Hag, and maybe he's too honest for his own good, or maybe that was just an outright mistake.
Still saying he stands by his strict management style. It was a fascinating media conference. We'll touch back on that over the course of the game, I am sure. But in terms of the teams, Man United, 3 changes to the team that lost to Arsenal. Andre Onana stays in goal. Diego Dalot is now at right back. Victor Lindelof and Lisandro Martinez are fit to start, despite both going off against the Gunners. And Sergio Reguilón makes his first appearance for Man U at left back on loan from Spurs. Scott McTominay returns in midfield as a double pivot alongside Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, Marcus Rashford supporting Rasmus Højlund up top. He starts for the first time, so McTominay, Reguilón and Højlund are in. Anthony Martial and Aaron Wan-Bissaka drop down to the bench. Now Anthony, for the reasons we've mentioned, Bayindir alongside Maguire, Garnacho, Pellistri, Wan-Bissaka, Johnny Evans, Daniel Gore and Hannibal Mejbri is the bench for United. As for Brighton, 6 changes to the team that beat Newcastle by 3-1. So Roberto De Zerbi really ringing those. Steele, Lamptey, Dahoud alongside Lallana, Welbeck and Adingra all come in. Verbruggen, Pedro, Gilmore, Ferguson, all down to the bench. There is no Pervis Estepinian or Solly March. So Jason Steele in goal, Joel Veltman at left back, Trey Lamptey, Jean-Paul Van Hecke and Lewis Dunk, the skipper, at the back. Pascal Gross and Mahmoud Dahoud are your two in midfield, with Adingra, Adam Lallana and Kaudu Mitamar alongside Danny Welbeck up top. Those your lineups. Should be a cracking game. We'll look forward to that more and to the rest of the 3 p.m. kickoffs in a moment on Premier League Live. You're listening to Talksport's coverage of Manchester United against Brighton Hove Albion from Old Trafford. I'm your host, Russell Hargreaves, alongside with the former Stoke City, Reading and Portsmouth striker Dave Kitson. And this is Premier League Live. Just hearing, by the way, that Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been ill in the week. And that seems to be the reason that he has dropped down to the bench for Manchester United today. And one thing really quickly, Dave, we didn't get a chance to go into was some of that Brighton bench. Evan Ferguson is on that bench, doesn't start. Knee issue that saw him miss international duty with the Republic of Ireland, but at least he's available there. And Ansu Fati is there as well. Incredible Spanish star on loan from Barcelona, and we may see, of course, his club debut at some point. What a story that would be.
Yeah, I hope so. I think, and this is where Brighton have come. It's, you know, when you, an example of the meteoric rise that they've had and the good governance going on at that club, and the way that they're run is that they can attract these kids now from the likes of Barcelona, and it's because they'll play. They'll get a chance. They're trusted. It's the same reason why Caicedo goes to Brighton in the first instance rather than going straight to United. He will play, and they will promise him, yeah, if we get the bid, you'll move on. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. Evan Ferguson, it just seems to be never ending. There's, you know, you sell £100 million pound player and another one comes through the door. But I really like him, an old school number 9. When he's up to full speed, you know, no one can touch him.
Excellent stuff. All right then, so that is our featured game. Man United Brighton off in just over 15 minutes time. But our featured game is Man United against Brighton off in about 8 minutes time. Let's hear from our bosses, Erik ten Hag and Roberto De Zerbi.
I prepare my team in the best I can, and I put all my effort in the players who are available. He is not available, so in this moment he is not important because he can't contribute.
Would you consider playing him again for United, or is anything off the table? Or
I don't know. So I'm sitting here, and tomorrow we have a big game, and we're going to in a new block of games, and with many games in a condensed program. I focus on that.
Man United is still a great team, great players, great manager, one of the best managers in Europe, great atmosphere, I think. But we are Brighton, and the DNA of Brighton is to try to win, playing well, playing football.
Strict line, that is what the point. But the club asked me because there was no good culture before I entered last season to set some standards, and that's what I did. Yeah, then it's my job to control the standards, and of course it's not. It's never have been as well that someone, when he make one mistake, no, there is a whole process before you come to a certain outcome about strict lines. But if staff of players or whatever if they is there's a structure to cross lines, you have to be strong. Absolutely.
We start a very important period. We start with United and we finish with Liverpool in 1 month, around more or less 1 month. In this month we will play against big team, Aston Villa, Liverpool, Chelsea, Marseille, AEK Athena, and we are exciting to start to playing.
Brighton's Roberto De Zerbi, Man United's Erik ten Hag, talking as well as about Sancho, about the lack of culture, the wrong culture when he came in at the start of last season, Dave Kitson.
Yeah, I think they'd obviously been lacking in a manager who's been there, cut his teeth, you know, done the business elsewhere for a big club. That hadn't happened for a little while, but I don't agree with him that there wasn't a bit of a culture. Patting himself on the back for actually getting a team of 11 players at Manchester United to play a decent game of football. You know, what is the culture now? What is it? Because they play a different way every week depending on who's playing them, and they've got problems off the pitch.
Dave Kitson, thank you for your thoughts. Kick-off is fast approaching, should be a belter. It's Man United versus Brighton. Where else? Here on Premier League Live. You are listening to Talksport's coverage of Manchester United against Brighton Hove Albion from Old Trafford. I'm your host, Russell Hargreaves, and alongside me, the former Stoke, Reading and Portsmouth striker Dave Kitson. And this is Premier League Live. By the way, if you are tuning in as well for Spurs Sheffield United, got a couple of technical problems at the new White Hart Lane. We'll get those ironed out ASAP, but bear with us for that one. All our other games, of course, about to kick off with full coverage, including here in our feature at the place called the Theatre of Dreams, but it's been, in some senses, the Theatre of Nightmares in recent times. Issues, of course, as we know, surrounding Anthony, Mason Greenwood, clearly, Jadon Sancho, Harry Maguire. My goodness, can United put it all behind them and get the job done today? They've already lost a couple of times this season. They've lost 3 in 5 to start a season since 1989-90. Up against a Brighton team we've lost once but won 3 times this season, and are flying under Roberto De Zerbi, particularly in terms of scoring goals left, right and centre. And United, with those 3 changes to the Arsenal defeat before the international break, have got Andre Onana in goal. It's Diogo Dalot, Sergio Reguilon, Lisandro Martinez and Victor Lindelof at the back. Casemiro, Scott McTominay, Bruno Fernandes the captain, Christian Eriksen, Marcus Rashford and Rasmus Højlund up top. I can tell you as well, we're about to pause for a mark of respect for the victims of the Moroccan earthquake and the Libyan floods. Mark of respect to the thousands who've lost their lives or affected by those awful events. Premier League players and match officials wearing black armbands today, observing a moment's silence. Impeccably observed, a mark of respect for the victims of the Moroccan earthquake and Libyan floods of recent times. And of course, our thoughts, prayers and deep condolences also going out to everybody involved in any way from here at Premier League Live. Back then to the action. I've run you through the United lineup. We'll take Bayindir alongside Harry Maguire, Anthony Martial, Alejandro Garnacho, Facundo Pellistri and Wan-Bissaka, who's been suffering with an illness, Johnny Evans and youngsters Daniel Gore and Hannibal Mejbri is your bench today. Brighton under Roberto De Zerbi, 6 changes to their win against Newcastle. Jason Steele, Tariq Lamptey, Jean-Paul Van Hecke, Lewis Dunk and Joel Veltman, Pascal Gross and Mahmoud Dahoud, and then Simon Adingra, Adam Lallana, Kaoru Mitoma and Danny Welbeck up against one of his old teams up top. And then Bart Verbruggen, Igor Julio, Adam Webster, James Milner, João Pedro, Billy Gilmore, Carlos Baleba, Evan Ferguson and Ansu Fati is the bench for Brighton today. United in their traditional red tops, white shorts and black socks left to right in the first half. Brighton in their traditional home kit as well, blue and white vertical striped tops, blue shorts and socks with white trim. They are going from right to left. Tariq Lamptey back into the team, will take the throw. We thought that he would probably line up at right back with Joel Veltman at left, both right backs by trade, but I think, Dave, they might be going the other way around.
Yeah, it could be. It's tricky to see at the minute as the ball has gone out of play, but it certainly looks as if United, when they attack, are going in a sort of a high square, actually, with Højlund and Rashford certainly operating as a partnership.
Long throw downfield from Lamptey, looking for Danny Welbeck, who turned, controlled the ball, but was adjudged just to have nudged his man. And Manchester United will get the first free kick of the game, deep inside their own half. It's played back to Onana, their goalkeeper, shortlisted for World Keeper of the Year, the current FIFA awards. As United play the ball out to the right to Dalot, who certainly had a tough first half, in particular against Arsenal, playing on the left. With the Portuguese back to definitely a preferred flank. Onana downfield, and that was cut out just for a moment by Brighton before United, with plenty of men in reserve, Win it back, Dave, on the left-hand side, and Brighton trying to put some pressure on United with the ball, but United beating that press quite nicely there.
Yeah, that is the big switch that'll do it.
Infield was controlled for a second by Rashford, won it back though, played a little 1-2 with Bruno Fernandes. It took a combination of 3 players to win it back for Brighton. United still fighting for that ball, and they've got it again. Really hungry stuff from the Red Devils. In the end, it was Reguilon, his debut of course on loan from Spurs. He linked up with a combination of Rashford and his captain Bruno Fernandes, and it's won a corner. That's taken quickly from the far side. Interchange of passes, perhaps a little too clever for United's own good, and in the end they've lost the ball. Here's Mitoma surging forward. What a wonderful player the young Japanese is. Was he shoved? Was he brought down? No foul is the decision. Roberto Zerbi is incensed. That means Man United come forward through the recalled Scott McTominay. He then loses out. Van Hecker it was coming forward who made a tough challenge. Brighton win it back. It's all happening already.
Yeah, they've started hard and fast and aggressive, United. Dalot's on the floor, but actually this only comes about because he's committed 2 fouls on Mitoma and the referee's not giving it. And I know what the referee's trying to do, is trying to let the game flow. He doesn't want to start giving free kicks away, but the first one's a foul. The next one he bundles him over again, and then a strong challenge by Lamptey comes in on him. I'll just get a quick look at the replay. Well, he hasn't got any of the ball, Lamptey, but it's not as bad as Dalot's making out.
It's a yellow card
it's
already.
very harsh. Very harsh.
Whether there was something said possibly as well as a combination of the two, but Lamptey back into the team, as we mentioned, such a promising player. Injuries have really taken their toll over the last 2 or 3 years. The young Ghanaian is in the book already, and we've barely played 3 minutes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what United do now, because a full-back being on a yellow 3 minutes into the game, and you've got Marcus Rashford on the pitch as a winger, you might just ask him to go and play over there for 15 minutes.
Drop ball in the end, so
yeah, well,
I do wonder if it was for what was said.
Possibly.
There. Yeah. Anyway, Lewis Dunk, excellent for England in the week in their win against Scotland. Same can't necessarily be said for Harry Maguire, own goal on the bench for United again today. But Dunk, riding a quest of a wave at 31, began this move as he often does for Brighton, just edging forward with those good ball playing skills. Moved down the right hand side. Veltman forward looking for a Dingra. Didn't quite work on that occasion. And United again win it back. Neither team is looking particularly composed in possession at the moment, are they?
No, United, I mean, I understand what Ten Hag wants. He wants them to start hard and fast and press and all the rest of it, but when you do that, you sacrifice a little bit of quality on the ball. It's almost, I said this a lot about Premier League football, sometimes it can be too fast for its own good.
Just need a little bit of poise at times. United maybe just trying to take the sting out of the game a little, as Christian Eriksen potentially recognises that, the Dane, and trots back to just exchange passes with his goalkeeper. Onana, the Ivorian, downfield, well controlled by Rashford. Offloads as far as Reguilon, who's certainly been busy down this left-hand side. No Luke Shaw, no Tyrell Malacia, getting his chance to stake a claim for maybe a little while at left-back. Great play from United, or indeed from Brighton. It falls back to United. Here's Marcus Rashford, twisting, turning, great play, super save from the recalled Jason Steele. Rashford allowed the freedom of the left edge of the penalty area, meandered his way through one-on-one, tight angle against Steele, and Steele makes the block to deny the England man.
Oh, it's brilliant from Rashford, twisting and turning, and it was extremely desperate from the Brighton defenders, and the danger's not over yet. It's a great start from United.
Really nice move there, but Brighton at one point guilty of ball watching and letting United win it back and come at them, I felt, as well. They looked a little bit rattled.
Yeah, and actually when Rashford had that ball and he was twisting and turning, I was looking in the box, and Rasmus Højlund was waiting for the ball to be pulled back. There were a couple of chances where he had the ball, he just wanted it squared for a tap-in. Rashford wanted to do it all of himself.
As we analyse all of that, Brighton have brought their man down on the edge of the area. And there's a free kick to Man United as well. I think it was a Dingra stretching who brought down his man, who I think was Eriksen. Just as we were looking at the replay of the opportunity, Brighton pushing back out, conceded a fairly needless free kick taken short by Eriksen to Fernandes, dinked forward and headed just onto the roof of the nets in the end by Rasmus Højlund. Højlund was £72 million signing from Atalanta, back injury, off the bench and looked lively against Arsenal, and now starts for the first time.
Yeah, not the best header, and he had a little bit of space as well, but the fact that he's getting those opportunities, it shows that he's aware of where the ball might be going and he's always on the move. Very good sign for United. I'm keen to see what he can do, I really am.
Nearly 7 played, Premier League Live. Man United 0, Brighton 0. Brighton tried to overplay down the right and lose out again. Fernandes in field. Casemiro tries the through ball. Shot blocked, possibly by a United player. I think the shot from distance from the Red Devils possibly barrelled off Højlund. That would have been Bruno Fernandes. I think they got in each other's way there.
I think they did, yeah. It was, Bruno Fernandes did the right thing. Everyone was expecting the ball to keep going right, and he took a swing at it. Not a bad effort. I think Dunk blocked it with his stomach, perhaps. But this is a really, in total contrast to the Arsenal game where they sat off. They're having a really, really good go. You just wonder, Brighton get through the first 15 minutes, the crowd go a bit flat. It's what next for United?
Absolutely. Here's Rashford, who takes it around Van Hecke, who was in an advanced position once more. That's left a little bit of a gap. Rashford running at a combination of Veltman and Adingra, who was back doubling up, goes out for a Man United throw. And Talksport Live, by the way, keep your tweets coming in as Reguilon puts the cross in, and Lewis Dunk very calmly chests it back to his goalkeeper Steele. He had a United player on him and deftly kind of swiveled and chested it back. That was risky, but actually very well effective.
That was fantastic. It really was, as calm as you like.
Chase Llewellyn at Talksport Live. Should be a great game. This fixture always is. Looking forward to the call, boys. And King Quill saying, why is Anthony Martial in the Man United squad again? Him being involved gives Brighton the upper edge, as Erik ten Hag got this one wrong again. Well, King Quill, he doesn't start today, Martial, but he is still involved, and he's certainly frustrated of late, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I mean, look, there's no Sancho. You've got to put somebody on the bench, right?
Absolutely. Very good point. No Anthony either. Maybe that is one of the reasons, all of those absences. Brighton coming down the left-hand side through Lamptey, but it's won back beautifully by United. Brilliant turn from Christian Eriksen, and that has kept the move alive with a sublime little bit of link play from the Dane. Cross from the left-hand side, looking for Højlund, who slides in. Couldn't make meaningful contact, the Dane, as he looks for that first United goal. Great counter, just bearing in on the edge of the 6-yard box under pressure. Rasmus Højlund could not quite fire one home, but a lovely, lovely move.
Well, it's fantastic football from United. It really, really is. One end to the other. Rasmus Højlund, I mean, I'm watching him all the time when the ball's wide, and he makes a fantastic run from the back post to the near post, and I'm not quite sure how he's missed it, really. It just needed to side foot it. Maybe it came at a sort of a waist height kind of a ball, but he seemed to do well to actually not make contact with it.
Pascal Gross, who's got an unbelievable goal-scoring record for Brighton against Man United. More of that later. Downfield to Adingra, puts in a deep delivery to Mitoma. Here is Kaoru Mitoma, red-hot Japanese. Can't get his shot away, goes back to Lamptey. There's a 1-2 with the evergreen Adam Lallana at 35 years old. Returns it back to the full-back, who, to put it mildly, Dave, did not have much time to get a shot in.
Yeah, they messed that up. They overplayed it on the edge of the box because it falls to Mitoma on the back post, and it just bounced beautifully for a volley. And I thought, with his quality, he's just going to angle this to the far post and have a go, and he didn't. He came back on himself, and that allowed United to recover.
And looking at that replay of the move with Eriksen's beautiful turn, Rashford's delivery, and Dunk just about wily old Fox doing enough to put Højlund off balance. Much more, and I think it could have been a pen.
It's a great run. He's beaten Dunk all ends up. I still think he should have connected with it.
Eriksen now in a slightly more attacking situation. Further downfield, was he fouled? The decision is no. Our referee, by the way, is the Aussie Jared Gillett today. Certainly had a good view, and he was happy to say play on from a couple of yards away. Fernandes did win that ball. Forward from Lindelof as far as Rashford. Turns, beats Welbeck. Out to the left-hand side, Reguilon. Back as far as Rashford. That one's blocked by a combination of Veltman and Van Hecke. Goodness me, the two Dutchmen there pulled into action. The offside flag has gone up on the far side, so it wouldn't have counted. But Rashford looking lively, and United asking yet more questions 11 minutes in.
Yeah, it is a bit desperate. It's a testament to how United are playing. They're really, really going after Brighton. And I think this is Ten Hag saying the longer this game goes on at 0-0, the less our chances become of winning this game. I would agree with that. I think United's best chance would be in the first half, getting their noses ahead, and then perhaps reverting to the type of football they played against Arsenal. Because there's no doubt eventually Brighton will create some chances.
Yeah, it's a very, very good point. Defeat in this corresponding fixture last season was Erik ten Hag's first match in charge. It was the Seagulls' first win at Old Trafford on their 14th visit. 2 goals in that one from Pascal Gross, 2-1 the final score. Brighton also won 1-0 at the Amex later in the season. courtesy of a late Alexis McAllister penalty, and you did beat them on penalties in the FA Cup semi-finals. But Brighton have actually won the last 3 league games between the two, and in all competitions United have only scored 1 goal in the last 4 meetings between the teams, and that was actually an own goal in another game from McAllister. So as we said at the very top of the show, Dave, the dynamic has really shifted, hasn't it, between these clubs?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, before the game I was going to make a little point about, you know, how the landscape has shifted.
Definitely. And is it shifting here? I wonder. Højlund did well to hold that one up under pressure from Dunk. Found his captain Fernandes out to Eriksson, who's been ever industrious on that left-hand side. Adingra's all over him. Eriksson shepherds the ball nicely to the far dead ball line. And wins another throw for United. We've been looking mostly right in this game so far, haven't we?
Yeah, it's Adingra at the moment. If there's a player on the on the Brighton team that's getting a bit of a lesson handed to him, it's Adingra. He's not quite sure where to be.
Cross from Reguilon, looking for McTominay. This time headed clear once more. Haven't seen a huge amount from Mahmoud Dahoud yet, the German. Dahoud, one of the summer signings, he started in the team and lost his place and his back. Eventually got it clear. Meet him up, looking for Lallana. Dave Kitson's got his head in his hands because that little counter broke down as well for the Seagulls.
Lallana's furious with himself, and rightly so. It's for a guy of his technique, he just needs to be taking that ball in his stride, and the whole goal has opened up for him. It was a 2-on-1 for Brighton. That's a really, really good chance and a terrible touch from Lallana.
Not to be. 13 and a half gone. Man United 0, Brighton 0. Elsewhere, Spurs 0, Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 0, Crystal Palace 0, West Ham 0, Manchester City 0, and Fulham 0, Luton 0 earlier. Liverpool winning 3-1 at Wolves after being a goal down. And to come, it's Newcastle-Brentford, 5:30 UK with Tom Rennie and David Connolly. At Talksport Live, wherever you're listening from around the world, we love to hear from you. Drop us a tweet, tell us what you're up to, where you are, send us a picture. Your thoughts on United, on Ten Hag and his pretty brutal man management, the issues at the club at the moment. Is he the right man? Is he doing the right thing? Where will it lead for United this season? So what's the limit for Brighton? Is there one? Under De Zerbi, players go, youngsters come in. It seems to be getting better and better. What a story it's been. At Talksport Live, let us know. Shannon Blythe, big fan of the show from the deep south in America. I've got a rest day, so no running today, but I'm out walking Georgia, my dog, and she's walking me as I listen to the best. Up the Palace, tough game today, and I hope Roy Hodgson is okay. Shannon, great to hear from you. Lovely picture there of your dog Georgia as well at Talksport Live. Keep your tweets coming in. We've missed nothing because it's literally, Dave, been Brighton stroking the ball around on the edge of their penalty area.
It's been
the whole time.
Lewis Dunk holding a little personal competition as to how long he can hold on to the ball for.
And the answer was 3 tweets, 4 score lines, and a fair bit else.
I mean, a lot of good stuff comes from him, but they are struggling to break this United shape down. It's very, very good.
Reguilon, under pressure from Adingra, headed it downfield. It was briefly won by Veltman. It nearly opened up on that far side for Brighton. United now try to play out from the back and get themselves in all sorts of trouble. Onana played it to Lindelof, who had a man on him. He then played it back to Onana, who had a man on him. And somehow United have got it to safety on the left edge of their area, but that was not pretty and not convincing.
No, that was not nice to look at at all. Very, very dangerous. Unnecessarily so, because they're in no danger at the minute.
Onana downfield to Dalot this time, under pressure from Mitoma. Mitoma did all right. Rashford was forced to just head it downfield as far as Jason Steele. This battle between Jason Steele and Bart Verbruggen as to who's going to be in goal for Brighton is fascinating. Steele, kind of a perennial number 2 in his career, had a really good half a season after he'd replaced Sanchez last season, and then perhaps harshly dropped for Verbruggen, but back in today. Brighton then giving the ball away, overplaying for about the 4th or 5th time in the match, but United didn't expect it, Dave, and couldn't capitalise.
Well, I think United just had to execute that ball. They're going to get chances. Brighton are not comfortable with this United shape. They're really, really struggling to get through it.
Dunk again coming forward, as he loves to do. Finds Lamptey in space, right-footed on the left, takes it around Casemiro, but then couldn't take it around a second player. It was Dalot, I think, sliding across, and crikey, he looks more at ease on the right than the left. United again try to play out from the back, and this time Danny Welbeck against his old team. But Lisandro Martinez under pressure. The Argentine gets rid. Downfield, well controlled. Reguilon, Fernandes, Rashford. Now to the right edge of the area. Lamptey is nutmegged by Marcus Rashford. Found Rasmus Højlund. Højlund tried to turn, but had 2 defenders on him. And in the end, the ball trickles out of play.
Yeah, and it's interesting actually that Ten Hag has spotted that now, and he has switched Rashford to play on Lamptey with that yellow card. Just have a little run at him for 5 or 10 minutes and see what happens.
Yeah, makes a fair amount of sense. Another ball from deep. Casemiro trying to find Reguilon, and Reguilon's been in a really kind of advanced position, hasn't he?
Do you know, I mean, as a Spurs fan, I've seen a lot of him, and I really like him as a player. I really, really like him as a player. He's never let Spurs down. He's great going forward. He leaves a little bit of space in behind, but he's quick enough and he's sharp enough and he presses really well. I think it's a really good signing, actually, for United.
Surprised they let him go? I know it's on loan.
Well, Udogie came in and he's been absolutely superb. Ben Davies is there, who, you know, if you need a backup, he knows the game inside out. So someone had to, 3 into that 1, it doesn't really go.
Van Hecke coming downfield, loses out. Eriksson read beautifully where the centre-half for Brighton was going to play the ball. And United are back in possession. Lindelof to Martinez, just by the left edge of the D. 18 gone. Still Man United 0, Brighton 0. Premier League Live. All our other games: Spurs, Sheffield United, Villa Palace, West Ham, Man City, Fulham, Luton. All goalless as well. Talksport.com around the world, online on the app. You can hear them all as solo commentaries. All the key moments as they happen we'll bring you in our featured game. Long ball, trying to free Rashford on the left, but overhit this time from Fernandes and out of play. And Brighton will get a chance to reset and throw the ball in from about 5 or 6 yards inside their own half. After a lively first few minutes, it's becoming a bit of a slow tactical burner again, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, now we're just getting a shot of De Zerbi actually on our monitor, and he's not a comfortable man, is he? He's not happy looking at his bench. He's talking to his coaches around him. I think he knows that they are actually struggling to break this United team down.
At Talksport Live, Michael Covington, listening from my campsite in Idaho, and a beautiful picture of the Idaho mountains and a stream meandering its way through. Very nice. Hoping there's lots of goals for the Hammers this afternoon. Well, Michael, that's 0-0 at the moment. And Derek Rami, Haaland with 2, Foden with 1 for me as City hit 3. That's his prediction in the Manchester City game. Good to hear from you, Derek, at Talksport Live. Keep your tweets coming in from around the world. We'll continue to read the best over the course of the game. Brighton offering a little more. Pascal Gross scored 6 goals against Man U in the Premier League in Brighton colours. Adingra let run and in, and it's Danny Welbeck against his old club. Really clever move from the right. United caught napping. Gross started the move, and Welbeck, arriving late under minimal pressure, calmly floats it in for his first of the season. It's a sucker punch for the Red Devils. It's Welbeck against his old team. It's Man United 0, Brighton 1.
Well, I said in the first 5 minutes, what happens after a great United start when the crowd go a little bit quiet, the tempo drops? What do United do then? And I'll tell you what they do. They absolutely switch off. It is so Man United in this particular regime. Don't get me wrong, the football's nice, but goodness me, it's not difficult. There's no Man United player within 5 yards of anybody in this move. It is absolutely appalling from United. As good as the football is to watch, but it's easily stopped.
So it's Gross to Veltman, to the goal scorer, and then Welbeck to Adingra, dummy from Alana, back to Welbeck and in. So you've got 5 different Brighton players involved in what, 20 seconds of play?
And there's not a Man United player within 5 yards of any one of them. It's unbelievable when you think of the tactics and the work that Ten Hag has put into this team, that Brighton can just cut through like that. Unbelievable.
Wow. The plot thickens here. Danny Welbeck, your scorer. The official timing is 20 minutes, and it's Man United 0, Brighton 1 on Premier League Live. Man United have gone 31 games, more than a year without defeat at Old Trafford. Won 27, drawn 4, lost none in all competitions. Their last home loss was the 8th of September 2022 in the Europa League against Real Sociedad, and they're seeking a 9th straight league win at Old Trafford. That's how strong they are here.
Yeah, it's tough because if they go a goal up, I tell you, and bizarrely, the longer the game goes on, obviously the harder it's going to get for United to equalise. The best chance is probably 5 minutes after the goal, try and keep the tempo back up again. But when you've got a back two like that and Lewis Dunk who can just keep the ball, the crowd start getting agitated. Why is no one pressing him? And it becomes harder and harder and harder.
Jason Steele, decent clearance to Veltman, but his pass was asking far too much of Lallana, and that allows Casemiro to win it back. Exactly halfway through the first half as Eriksson bends one in looking for either Højlund or Scott McTominay. And between the two, guess who pops up and got it clear? Lewis Dunk.
Yeah, it's a great ball from Eriksson, just putting it in behind there, and Lewis Dunk is on the stretch and he's worried for a minute because the way that ball's coming in is just made for a striker to run onto the end of it.
Still goalless in all our other games. Liverpool winning at Wolves 3-1 earlier. Newcastle Brentford to come later. Corner on the far side to Man United. Casemiro making a nuisance of himself. Fernandes takes it short to Rashford. Back to Fernandes. Nietema is on him. Bent in. Headed to partial safety from Welbeck, our goal scorer, who's loving his return to Manchester United today. Ball trickles out, and in the end that's off Eriksson. It's off a United shirt and it's out for a goal kick, and the Brighton pocket of fans in that corner loving that.
Yeah, well, look, credit to Brighton. They soaked up what was a brilliant start from United.
Yeah,
and the thing is as well, it's that kind of human nature, which is you start really, really well, you have a great 20 minutes, and suddenly you concede a sucker punch, and it's really difficult to get out of that mindset of here we go again. It's happening to us again. It's really, really difficult to lift yourself when you're in this rut.
Now, we've seen this quite a lot this season, haven't we, where teams start to time waste, slow things down from very early on. Sometimes they're not even winning, but Brighton have taken an eternity between Steele and Van Hecke to get that goal kick away, and in the end they still go short, and about 5 United players close down 4 Brighton players, but in the end back to the same 2 players where we started. It's Steele to Van Hecke, now to Gross, who started the move for the goal, and it's a nice little move here as well to Veltman. This is very similar to the move that led to that opener. To Adingra again. All we need is Welbeck involved and we've got the same players. Lallana, head up, Gross, Mahoud. His ball is poor though, and the German ends up losing out, but all United do is intercept and smack it downfield.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's not, and Brighton is not the team that you want to do that to.
No, you can't just keep bringing them back, can you?
Yeah, no, you're going to be chasing all day.
Well, the stats boys say from here it's a 52% win probability for Brighton, just 21% for Man United. Goodness me. At Talksport Live, what do you think about this? Is the pressure starting to get on Erik ten Hag? Is it starting to get to Erik ten Hag? Let us know. Zoggy the Gooner, meanwhile, cracking commentary as usual, boys. Just off for some morning kayaking on the Long Island South, so New York State. Keep up the great work and come on Arsenal tomorrow. Zoggy the Gooner with a nice picture of the open seas. Very nice indeed. And there's an open space, maybe for United to exploit here on the right as Dalot cuts inside Nietema. It's back, it takes a ricochet and it's blocked. Great chance for Marcus Rashford, arriving by the edge of the penalty spot, struck it well, and I think that ricocheted off 2 Brighton players in behind.
Yeah, it's brilliant down this side from Dalot. Gets past Mitoma, cuts it back, and Rashford, he does everything right. It's a great hit, hits it firmly, it's just too many bodies in the way.
Still 0-0 in all our other games. Spurs, Sheffield, West Ham, Man City, Villa, Palace, Fulham, Luton. We've got the only goal of the 3 PM UK kickoffs, and that was Danny Welbeck 5.5 minutes ago against his old team. For Brighton, who lead Man United 1-0. Has the bear been poked though? As United are back on the attack, Rashford is like a man possessed, and like an attempted one-man wrecking ball. He comes forward again, beats a couple of players, shot blocked this time by Gross, who's having another really, really good game, the veteran German, whether he plays at right back, defensive midfield, wide midfield, advanced midfield, wherever Pascal Gross plays, he's just excellent.
Yeah, he is. He's one of those players you want in your squad. Well, I mean, in the first 11.
Exactly, and he can do about 4 very, very competent jobs.
Yeah, you know what you're getting.
As I say, he scored 6 goals in his Premier League career against Man U, including 2 here last season. Here's Fernandes. Rashford lets it run. Eriksson, this is a bit better. Oh, Christian Eriksen tried to cut it in field to Scott McTominay on the edge of the D. Brighton got it clear. I think it was Adam Lallana and Gross, those 2 reading the danger. Gross back again, and why is he maybe just slowing things down for a second now, Dave?
Yeah, and it comes from Welbeck at the top there. You know, you can tell he wants to sort of open his legs. It's basically a one-on-one, but he's on the halfway line. But no, stops, comes back, keep the ball, take the sting out of that United attack, let the crowd get on their backs a little bit more and press them, and then pick them off.
Approaching 27 gone, Premier League Live. If you're listening around the world, thank you for your company. It's a pleasure as ever to bring you the game's global league across the world. We're never tired, do we, of bringing this great league and this great game to everybody outside the UK.
It is fantastic. It just gets better and better, just, despite the rules that they bring in.
Not seen too much of that so far in this game, thank goodness. All right so far, but when we get 17 minutes of time added on...
Exactly.
Back to Brighton, just stroking the ball around. Van Hecker, Dunk, Steele, all involved. Steele in his orange goalkeeping jersey, wearing 23. Short, flat pass, out as far as Joel Veltman. Back to Steele again. Højlund tries to put a bit of pressure on. Now Dunk is in space, and again the England centre-half, as he now is these days, will edge the ball downfield. Fernandes comes out to him, so he goes back in field to Gross, and as you touched on, this is what frustrates a team like Man U when they're down, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's horrible on a humid day as well, which this is. It's horrible. You're just running sideways, backwards and forwards. You're wondering if anyone's coming with you.
Van Hecker out to the right-hand side. Gross is now playing as the wide man. He's everywhere. Mahmoud Dahoud, Syrian-born German. Signed for a decent amount of money, 20-odd million quid if memory serves, in the summer. As you're saying, it to fully force his way into that Brighton team after starting their first game or so, but he is back in today. Among those 6 changes.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. You have the front three pressing, and then it goes right in between them, and no one's come with them, and Brighton can turn and play. Actually, that's a really poor ball because they were in there.
More frustration for Man United. Oh, when the Yanks tweeting in, listening to your great commentary while exploring Key West in Florida today. Sun and soccer, perfect, and a beautiful picture of some azure blue skies and sea. And down there in the Keys, in the south of Florida. Absolutely beautiful part of the world. Key Largo, Key Biscayne. Gotta love it. With US Route 1, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful part of the world. Very, very nice. Yeah, Key West. Ernest Hemingway, Sloppy Joes, love it. Very, very nice tweet. At Talksport Live, keep them coming in from around the world. Lamptey, Dunk, back again to Steele. And you 3 players pushing forward, and Bruno Fernandes' frustrated shake of the head said it all, as none of them got the ball. And Brighton came forward. Gross. Under a little bit of pressure from Casemiro, but there's options for Brighton every time, aren't there?
Yeah, well, the front 3 are getting caught a bit too flat going forward. Yeah. And Eriksen and McTominay and Fernandes aren't going with them. So there's a gap in between those 2 lines that Brighton are exploiting quite nicely.
Through ball from Lamptey, looking for Adingra. The young Ivorian just ghosting offside there. Man United do manage to get a free kick as we tick to exactly half an hour played. Man United 0, Brighton 1 if you're just joining us on Premier League Live, and still all our other games are goalless. Very, very rare. Earlier, Wolves led early on against Liverpool through Hwang Hee-chan, but Cody Gakpo, Andy Robertson, late on a Bueno own goal it's now been attributed to, gave Liverpool a 3-1 win with a couple of assists for a certain Mo Salah. And don't forget to come, Newcastle versus Brentford, which should be a really good game at 5:30. Tom Rennie alongside David Connolly. And again, it's Brighton stroking the ball around. Dunk, Lamptey, a bit more urgency this time, but it didn't actually do the Seagulls any good because Lamptey couldn't find his man, which was Lallana. Casemiro brought it forward, didn't get a call, didn't know there was a man on him. He loses out, and here come Brighton again. Mitoma to Lallana. Oh, Lallana just showed a little too much of it to the Man United defence. Otherwise, that could have easily been an opening for a second goal. Veltman was screaming for the ball on the far side, and Brighton could have done better on that counter toward the end.
I just think Mitoma probably had 1 too many touches there. It could have gone a little bit earlier.
Dalot in field for United, midway inside the Brighton half. Casemiro again trying to find Rasmus Højlund or Scott McTominay, and he can't find either. Veltman emerging with it again. This is a desperately frustrating passage of play for Manchester United. Remember, 1989-90, last time under the great Sir Alex Ferguson, 3 or 4 years into his tenure. But they've lost 3 of their first 5 games of the league campaign. Not looking too great at the moment. Gross on halfway. Cahood, now to Welbeck, running at Lindelof, shoots from distance, just over the bar. Danny Welbeck is loving his day in the sun, starting this game. A yard over from distance, not bad.
Well, it's unbelievable, frankly. I mean, the shades of the first goal, actually, because Brighton literally just played their way up the pitch with no pressure on them whatsoever.
Short ball from Anana. Reguilon infield to Fernandez, still on the edge of his own D, and with plenty of Brighton players around him. Man U have mustered 6 attempts in the game to Brighton's 3, only 1 shot on target apiece, but after that bright United start, you feel that the vast majority of the tactics and ultimately the best chances, it's all kind of been Brighton, hasn't it, for the last certainly 20 minutes of this one.
Yeah, and now you're starting to see some things unfold where you get frustrated players, where you get Bruno Fernandes, who for some reason is picking the ball up in the right back position because he can't get on it, and he just wants to get on it, and he just plays an awful ball down the touchline. And that's the problem when players start doing their own thing.
Yeah, and they go off script, and when that pattern starts to crumble. Better crossfield ball this time to Rashford, who's played well, cuts inside, Van Hecke takes a deflection. Goodness me, I'm not sure if that possibly clipped the woodwork or not in the end, but it was a really powerful shot from Rashford. Veltman threw himself at it. Both players are down, one's holding his head, one's holding his knee. It's Casemiro's ball to free Marcus Rashford, who controlled it beautifully, used Reguilon as the decoy, cut in field, and yes, it did. It ricocheted off Veltman. There was a collision. It hit the stanchion with steel beaten and went behind. That was so close.
Yeah, I think as Rashford shoots, he's just apologising now, saying it was an accident to Veltman, which everybody agrees. As he's falling, his knee catches Veltman on the back of the head. It's a brilliant block from Veltman, by the way, because Rashford, I mean, you don't need me to tell you that he's United's brightest chance of a goal in this game, but he's cutting in and he's causing all sorts of problems.
Fernandes will take the resulting corner. In swinger, but it's too close to Jan-Paul Van Hecke, who's happy to get it clear. Mitoma tries to play some football on the edge of his own box and apologises because he overplayed that one and gave it away. United do go back, so it's not a massive issue, but again, that was probably not quite the right decision.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're all great ball players, but on the edge of the box after a corner is probably not the place to do it.
34.5 gone, Premier League Live. Man United 0, Brighton 1. United just hitting the edge of post and bar with a deflected Rashford effort off Veltman, but it's still former United striker Danny Welbeck's goal that's the difference between the teams, and that came about 15 minutes ago. Man United 0, Brighton 1. At Talksport Live, as Lisandro Martinez plays one over the top, trying to find Scott McTominay, pushing forward, back in the team today. Which talk about Casemiro having too many sort of dirty central midfield duties to do on his own. Whether he needed that double pivot, as they're called these days. Casemiro himself loses out. Brighton are convinced that as he did, Lallana was fouled. Nothing given on field initially by Jared Gillett, but then a free kick is given Brighton's way.
Yeah, I don't mind that. He just gave himself a couple of I know we're not used to that in football. It's not cricket, obviously, where you can wait and have a little think. But he just gave himself a couple of seconds just to have a little think, and I think he's made the right decision.
Yeah.
Casemiro clips him,
miscontrols it, and basically sticks a leg out.
Exactly, yeah.
So Lallana, 35 years young, with a 37-year-old James Milner on the bench for this one, don't forget, wins the free kick for Brighton. Eddie Kenny, so typical of United and rightly stated by the boys, that we start so well, don't get the goal, switch off, concede, and now we see the mental fragility. Hope I'm wrong, but it's the usual side and the usual issue for these players. Eddie, very interesting tweet. Brighton take their free kick to the left-hand side. Lamptey to Mitoma, blocked by Dalot. Who's that ricocheted off? In fact, it's just stayed in. So Dalot gets it clear. Foul in the end on Rasmus Højlund, who'd gone deep. Takes it quickly, clever play from the Dane. Downfield looking for Rashford, but Jason Steele read the danger well. Some of Brighton's defenders were caught slightly flat-footed and napping there, but the keeper, returning to the team, read that well.
Well, that was a bit odd because the referee's definitely whistled for it to either be put back or he wants to talk to someone, possibly Lewis Dunk, and actually he's whistled and whistled, everyone's stopped and they've clipped the ball and he's played on. That was a bit odd.
Well, Højlund was the guy kind of just pushing the boundaries there, got away with it, and nearly set up a decent opportunity. United trying any which way to get back into this one and to end the frustration. Promise Ifeanyi saying, I'm really liking what I'm hearing of Reguilon. I love him as a footballer and I'd love him to stay at United. That's Promise from Lagos in Nigeria. Good to hear from you. And I think Dave would echo those sentiments in terms of Reguilon's quality, but not if you align yourself to Tottenham, because you probably want him back one day.
Well, the one thing you have to watch with Reguilon is that he can be quite influenced by the home crowd every now and again, and he'll go on these mad runs up the pitch trying to close down and end up on the other side of the pitch, and then decent teams will pick off that side. It happened a few times at Spurs, but you can't fault the energy. Great technique, he's up and down, he scored a few goals for Spurs as well. I like him. I think he's a really good player.
37 and a half gone. United 0, Brighton 1. There have been 1 or 2 goals elsewhere. There was one at Villa Palace, that's now been chalked off. Spurs and Sheffield is goalless, Fulham Luton is goalless, but there has been a goal in the West Ham Man City game. We'll take you there in a moment. So 2 goals in our 3 o'clocks, 1 here with Brighton leading through Danny Welbeck, and 1, I won't tell you which way, in the West Ham Man City game. Villa did lead briefly, and is now back 2-0. Again, Brighton just slowing things down. Højlund putting a bit of pressure on Dahoud. Out to the right side, and Veltman with Eriksson all over him. Back again to the peroxide blonde hair. Maybe it's just very naturally very pale. In the way, it's Van Hecke, a bit like Dave Kitson with his ginger hair. Gross downfield to Welbeck, our goal scorer. Fernandes cutting that frustrated figure, as Dave so aptly pointed out before, is chasing a few shadows at the moment. Lewis Dunk's delivery again is spot on. Mitoma into the area. Early delivery. Just maybe lacked a little bit of penetration. In the end, Martinez read the danger and came across. Otherwise, Adingra could maybe have been unmarked on the edge of the 6-yard box. It was another decent move. Mitoma maybe just needed a bit more conviction in that ball. I like the idea of the early pass, though. Yeah.
Just that time there wasn't a midfielder arriving or somebody running towards the front post. But it's just amazing how easily they get in. And what they do at the back is, when you watch it, it's so interesting. What Brighton do is, what they're trying to do is get big clumps of United players attacking the same ball, and then they'll pass them, and they can take out 3-4 players all in one go, just with a single pass.
So remember, Brighton have won the last 3 league games against Man United, including 2-1 and 1-0 last season. They love this fixture at the moment, and on the attack again. Here's Adingra, still running. Just paused for a moment to work out what to do, and that momentary pause was enough to lose the ball. Reguilon surging back, making a really well-timed and critical tackle. The Spaniard then downfield to McTominay, now to Rashford. Having been on the back foot, United suddenly on the front foot through Rashford, who's been their man of the half, no question. Delays his ball. Højlund! First goal for Man United, set up by the brilliant Marcus Rashford. Højlund delayed, turned, and just guided it into the unguarded right portion of the net. The first of many, I'm sure, for this fantastic young hitman. And with 5 to go to the break, Old Trafford finally erupts. Man United 1, Brighton 1.
Well, I was just thinking to myself, I was watching him in that build-up, and he had no interest in getting involved with it. And I was thinking, this lad to me just looks like a finisher of moves. That's what he is, a finisher of moves. Doesn't want to get involved. He stays away, makes sure he gets into the box. He's looking at Dunk. It's a one-on-one. Rashford gets to the byline. Van Hecke's certain that this has gone out of play as it gets cut back. And I'll tell you what, it is very, very close.
That's very, very close to going out of play. We're checking.
Oh my goodness.
So just to describe this, I think by about an inch, the whole ball's out of play.
Yeah, Van Hecke was absolutely out. I was watching him when the ball was cut back, and he was adamant. He was screaming at the referee. And there you can see he's got a case in point.
Of course, no Hawkeye in the sense it's not on the actual goal line between the posts. It's the dead ball line beyond the right edge of the 6-yard box. And I think you're right. As Rashford takes it around Van Hecke, as he goes to kick the ball, there's a weeny bit that's in play. But by the time he actually makes contact, is the entire ball over the line, or is the tiniest sliver that is still level right with the edge of the whitewash, with the white line?
You can definitely, there's a clear gap between the line and the ball from the side where we're looking at Rashford. Behind him it's no good.
But is the sphere of the ball still over the edge?
Well, I think if you can see that gap and that's the best shot you've got, you have to give it out, because you can see the gap.
What drama. You thought that Rasmus Højlund had got his first goal for Man United. Technically he still has.
Yeah, he took
on the
it
board
really
at
well.
the moment.
Regardless of what happens, he took it well because he fights Dunk off.
Oh, it's been ruled out. Dave Kitson is right. There was just the faintest sliver of daylight between the white line and the ball. It had gone out of play. It's a massive let-off for Brighton. Højlund is back to no goals for Man United, and we are back to Man United 0, Brighton 1.
Yeah, they've got away with one there, Brighton, a little bit, because they actually went a little bit ragged, and I felt some of their passing. I know they're trying to kill the game to half-time, but some of the passing got almost a little bit cocky for its own good.
Wow. We will take you to that West Ham Man City goal as soon as we can, but all the drama here has slightly trumped it just for now. Meet him up downfield, up against Dalot, cutting inside. Lindelof did well initially and then well afterwards as well, because he was being potentially tugged at by the Japanese. Play went on, and he then stretched out a leg, the Scandinavian, to stop Adam Lallana coming forward as well. Bruno Fernandes signalling to his teammates, give me some options. The options are the long legs of Scott McTominay, of course playing in a much more advanced role and doing very well for Scotland. Now back in the Man U team, and certainly getting forward a fair bit today. He's got it in his locker. Often the position he plays at Man United means we don't see it. But we are seeing a bit more of it today on his return. I wonder if that's a deliberate ploy to get the best out of Scott McTominay offensively, as well as that defensive role alongside Casemiro.
Yeah, I think they want to get him on the front foot a little bit more, because they've probably seen the goals that he's been scoring for Scotland, and just why not ask the question, push him a little bit further up. But if you've got Casemiro, you don't necessarily need someone all the time. And
you need some help.
You
need
that
some lovely combo, doesn't he?
But you've got Eriksen, who will drop deep because he's a great passer. You don't need three of them back there all the time.
True, and he can stick that boot in as a second one when needed, and that is key. Here's Reguilon. Was he fouled? The answer is yes. Ball has gone out of play. Let's take you to that opener between West Ham and Man City.
Fullback starting to get forward. A free player at the back post. Chip towards their free opportunity and a goal. James Ward-Prowse with the stooping header. A special signing for West Ham, and their special start to the season continues.
Wow, the only team, of course, to beat Brighton this season as well, and West Ham lead. James Ward-Prowse, what a signing. 1-0 up against the champions and pace setters Man City. Man United, happy to at least hear that, I'm sure, were briefly on the attack. Brighton won it back, then lost it, and they've got it back again. Approaching the final 20 seconds of the first half plus time added on. Yeah, James Ward-Prowse, goodness me. Here, Dunk decides to play a very ambitious pass to Van Hecke right across his own goal line, basically. Bends it around two Man United players, finds Van Hecke, we play on. That took some nerve.
Yeah, there's a very high press at the minute going on, just for the last couple of minutes of this game.
We haven't got a crazy amount of time added on, which will please Dave at the end of the first half. It's just the 3 additional minutes, which is more like times of yore, isn't it? Tim has tweeted in, a Spurs fan from southeastern Pennsylvania, at work enjoying the commentary, boys. Nice picture of him working his mechanics area, what looks like maybe a sit-on lawnmower. Let's try and work out exactly what that is, Tim, but working away. Good lad. At Talksport Live. Keep your tweets coming in from around the world. We love to hear from you. About 30 seconds if the additional 3 have gone. And United forward through Lindelof. Clever long ball out to the left side, and the ever eager Marcus Rashford, left edge of the box, runs at Veltman, beats Van Hecke, oh, just wide. Rashford absolutely bang on it today. Really good run, purposeful strike, rising, and in the end just wide of Jason Steele.
Yeah, I think he might have just been a yard offside. Brighton certainly thought so. All the arms went up in the air, but this is United's best chance for me of getting back into this game. Is just, there's nothing difficult about this. It's get the ball to Rashford, let him cut in and shoot, and then pick up any rebounds that come off the keeper. He looks so dangerous.
Goal kick taken short by Steele after Rashford's purposeful effort. That's where West Ham through Ward-Prowse leading Man City 1-0. Goal of Spurs Sheffield, Fulham Luton. Villa had a goal against Palace, that was then chalked off, and they are also 0-0. He missed it earlier. Liverpool coming from behind to win 3-1 at Wolves. Newcastle Brentford to come. 5:30. Tom Reddy and Dave Connolly. Alex Buffo. Great commentary today, keeping me entertained, boys, as I make the drive from Denver, Colorado to Kansas City. It's a fair drive across probably, I don't know, about a third of the states. That'll keep him busy. Glad to be keeping you occupied, my friend. Josh Dickinson loving the coverage as I drive 100 miles, short for US standards, to officiate in a college match. Middlebury against Hamilton in central New York. Now Brighton give the ball away. It was Mahoud under pressure, a possible offside. Højlund all over him. And in the end they get away with it. Brighton trying to finish the half with their tails up, forcing the issue. Højlund putting the German under pressure, but Brighton get away with that one.
Yeah, he's in an offside position because it's actually a really good win, and Højlund shouldn't be in an offside position here. He should be coming back because as the ball is won, and to be fair, he's like half a foot offside maybe, so it's not that much, but just trying to play on that shoulder as much as he can, but they win it back really, really well.
He wasn't expecting Brighton to necessarily lose the ball where they did, and yeah, as you say, as he scurried back, did so from just in an offside position. Final few seconds of the half, scything challenge, and it's Dahoud who's down, writhing around. Was that Bruno Fernandes who hacked him down?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
he said he was frustrated. We've seen this from Fernandes a fair bit in his career, haven't we? When things don't go well, the toys kind of come out of the pram.
He'll always give you effort, but if you're De Zerbi and the coaching team at Brighton, you want to be playing around Bruno Fernandes because it really, really frustrates him.
Yeah, you want to nurdle, prod, frustrate, and that's exactly what Brighton have done. Dunk over the top with the free kick, really clever ball. Welbeck couldn't quite control it. Danny Welbeck unfortunately sees that one from his point of view. Trickle out of play for a goal kick. That's the final play of the half. The boos from Man United's fans, partly perhaps for the performance, partly for the frustration of the disallowed goal. Started well. Danny Welbeck though on 20 minutes after a lovely team move down the right, fired home the opener. Marcus Rashford's deflected effort off Veltman whacked the scansion and stayed out. And Rasmus Højlund thought he'd opened his account, the £72 million man for United, but rightly just the ball had trickled out of play, not spotted at the time but caught laterally by VAR when Rashford had taken it around Van Hecker. That's the story of the game. Second half will be utterly compelling. At the break, Man United 0, Brighton 1 on Premier League Live. You're listening to Talksport's coverage of Manchester United against Brighton and Hove Albion from Old Trafford. I'm your host, Russell Hargreaves. Alongside me is the former Stoke City, Reading and Portsmouth striker Dave Kitson, the king of the coffees, as he's known. This is Premier League Live. Dave, you're racking up the old caffeine on my left.
Honestly, it's the only thing I can use to sort of take the sting out of watching United.
Touché. Very good. Yeah, it has been frustrating, hasn't it? I wouldn't say it's been flat and listless, because there are times, particularly through Rashford, when they are looking quite potent, but broadly it's not what you expect and not what's needed.
No, but you can almost sort of, as a player, you can almost hear the De Zerbi team talk, which is keep them quiet for 15-20 minutes and we'll come into the game, and that's exactly what's happened. There are some grounds you just go to that actually can help you win the game of football by getting on the backs of the players, panicking them into making passes they wouldn't normally play or going into areas they wouldn't normally go into to get the ball, and that's exactly as it's panned out. I'll be very curious to see how United approach this second half, because if they go too gung-ho, Brighton are good enough just to pick them off.
We're not getting any reports of any changes at half-time, so it's looking like it is as was as the players make their way back out. United out first, and Brighton following them a couple of moments later, and already there's been another goal in the West Ham-Man City game. It was 1-0 West Ham. They're back out for the second half. I have a funny feeling which way that one has gone, but we will bring it to you in a few moments' time. Fulham Luton's already back underway as well at 0-0. Palace's game against Villa is about to get back underway at 0-0. As indeed it's the Spurs match. They're playing Sheffield United, and we're about to get back underway here at Old Trafford as well. Man United 0, Brighton 1. Danny Welbeck's goal on 20 minutes, the difference between the teams. United hitting the woodwork through Marcus Rashford, deflected effort, and having the Rasmus Højlund first goal for the club ruled out narrowly but correctly, we feel, by VAR. We are back underway, so Man U in their traditional red with white and black going right to left from our great vantage point here at Old Trafford in the second half. Brighton left to right in their blue and white. Poor clearance by Onana, the United keeper, picked up by Gross. Dahoud downfield, ricochets off Martinez and goes back to Andre Onana, who gets away with that slightly ropey clearance. Onana in goal. Diego Dalot, Sergio Reguilon, who's been pretty good on his debut, on loan from Spurs. Martinez and Victor Lindelof at the back. Casemiro, Scott McTominay, Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, Marcus Rashford, Rasmus Højlund is your 11 for United. Martinez again goes across and makes a second nice interception of the second half. Here can Brighton though through the goal scorer Welbeck. Shakes off Reguilon. Good block in the end from Martinez again. He's touched the ball 3 times in the space of the first minute, only in the second 45, and needed 2 there just to dig Reguilon out. Probably the first mistake of the game he's made. All over the top, overhit, trickles out. Will be a Brighton throw, and we will take you back to East London, West Ham Man City.
To move it to Jeremy Doku on the left for Manchester City, into the penalty area already, and in reverse was so foul, and that is pinpoint precision from Doku for the tie. Inside of 45 seconds at the start of the second 45 minutes, Manchester City are level. Jeremy Doku has his goal.
Tim Long, thank you. 1-1 already in that one then. Everything else as was. United bench is Bayindir, their new Turkish sub-keeper from Fenerbahce. Maguire, Martial, Garnacho, Pelistri, Wan-Bissaka, Evans and the youngsters Gore and Mesbury. Brighton have got Jason Steele in goal, Tarek Lamptey, Jan-Paul van Hecke, who has stuck the skipper and Joel Veltman at the back. Mahoud Dahoud and Pascal Gross in midfield, Adam Lallana, Kaoru Mitoma, Simon Adingra and Danny Welbeck, the goal scorer up top. Verbruggen, Julio, Webster, alongside Milner, Pedro, Gilmore, Belanda, Ferguson and Fati, the bench. Here are United, through Rashford, twisting, turning, doing well, put across the dead ball line, and somehow there was no United player to poke that one home. Højlund, one of several bodies up there. Rashford, like in the first half, head down, going, weaving, beating the Brighton defenders. Did well with the ball close at his feet, but could not somehow find a teammate. At the other end, Brighton now counter as the game explodes to life. Here's Welbeck cutting in field, thought about the shot. Goes to Pascal Gross, who thinks about the shot. The German lets rip, but was slipping. And in the end, that's safely into the gloves of Onana. No 7th goal against Man U for Pascal Gross. And at the other end, Rashford, Dave Gibson, doing really well again.
Yeah, he did. And the most relieved man in the stadium is Mitoma, because he had far too many touches and lost the ball.
Mitoma at the other end, guides one through looking for Adingra, and goodness me, Onana had to read that one very, very well indeed. The Cameroon keeper up against the Ivorian, stuck out a glove, slid in. Otherwise Mitoma, a bit suspect at one end, nearly created a second at the other.
What a pass from Mitoma.
Absolutely beautiful. At the other end, Martinez wins the ball, feeds Højlund. It's all happening. We've had 3 chances in the space of a few moments, 2 at one end, 1 at the other. Højlund nearly emerging and United level again.
Yeah, it's all a bit frantic. I think it's not by design. It's more just a bit panicky.
So Rashford this time up against Van Hecke once more, which was of course the one-on-one that we thought had led to the goal late in the first half, but the ball had gone out of play. Similar situation this time, played it between the legs of the Dutchman to keep it in play, but couldn't quite feed Højlund on that occasion. Now Veltman slips on halfway. Not the greatest moment from him. It's been a crazy first 4 minutes of the second half, Dave.
Yeah, it has actually, and the danger man obviously Rashford for United, and Van Hecke's done really, really well against him actually so far, but you just wondered, can he do that for 90 minutes? Rashford, he just needs half a yard at times just to come in and shoot, and Brighton seem quite happy just to leave him exposed to Rashford.
Been a goal in the Villa Palace game, and unlike earlier for Diaby and for Villa, this one has stood. We'll take you to the West Midlands in a moment. Still West Ham 1, Man City 1, Fulham 0, Luton 0, Spurs 0, Sheffield United 0. Earlier, Liverpool coming from behind to win 3-1 at Wolves. Newcastle to come against Brentford. And here, Man U 0, Brighton 1, somehow. Eriksen twisting, turning, like a quarterback from the pocket with a long Hail Mary downfield, looking for Højlund. And that was pretty ambitious, wasn't it?
There's just a little bit too much of that from United at the moment. Just getting good ball, creating a few yards to find a pass, and then being over-elaborate and trying too difficult.
Brighton, as we say, winning 3 straight in the league against Man U, was as many as in their previous 17 encounters against them. Really has turned this as they look for back-to-back away Premier League wins for the first time since January of last season. Lamptey forward this time. Lost his footing though. And a couple of players inside him. And then you get the ball back through Victor Lindelof. Plays it back to his goalkeeper, Andre Onana. Big money signing, of course, from Inter Milan. And is the new number 1. Other De Gea dispensed with. Here's Højlund. Turns in field nicely. Beats his man. That man was Veltman out of position. Here's Rashford up against Van Hecke. Side netting. Van Hecke backtracking. Not his fault. No right back. And he did very, very well to come across, force Rashford wide. And force Marcus Rashford in the end to fire into that side netting.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this from Brighton. This is, I mentioned it literally 30 seconds ago. They're quite happy to expose Van Hecke to Rashford, and he's done well so far, but it's all a little bit desperate. You know, if Rashford cuts back inside there when Van Hecke is committed to the slide on the floor to block the ball, it's game over. He's going to score. And you just wonder, can Van Hecke keep him in his pocket for 90 minutes?
Yeah. On that occasion, fullbacks pushing up, losing the ball, left them exposed. They got away with it. Brighton countering again. 51.5 gone. Man United 0. Brighton 1. Now, having had a little bit of joy through a mixture of Lamptey and Mitoma down the left, they just slow it down. Go back central to the cultured figure of Pascal Gross. To Veltman. He's pushed up again. Dingra. Welbeck, the goal scorer. Brighton have worked the ball to about 10 yards away from the right edge of the Man U penalty area before. They're happy to go back again. Van Hecke had a busy old time, catching a bit of a breather at the back now. Here's a 1-2 with Daoud. Now to his fellow German, Pascal Gross. 52 gone. Brighton still a goal up here on Premier League Live at Man U. United almost never lose at home in any competition. This is very, very interesting. Dingra back. Dave Kitson, you're getting frustrated?
Well, I just thought they'd done all the hard work and they were just about to be in behind. He just had to play it in behind for Welbeck. For some reason he come back.
Nice crossfield ball here though to Mitoma. 1 goal, 3 assists this season already. 14 chances created going into the day. Here's Gross, lets it run! Pascal Gross loves scoring against Manchester United. He's done it for the 3rd time in 2 at Old Trafford, for the 7th time in his Premier League career. Pascal Gross is a man on a mission when the Red Devils are in town. Scores again. Man United 0, Brighton 2.
Well, luckily for Brighton, Adingra doesn't listen to me. He keeps the ball and he comes back. He uses Welbeck as a decoy and it goes to the other side. It's absolutely brilliant. Lamptey with his great little... I don't know what he does, but the way he manipulates the ball, perhaps from one foot to the other and gets it through. The pass is not meant for Gross at all.
Wow.
It is fantastic, but great, the way he takes it is just absolutely first class. This is what happens when you get runners going forward. Lallana gets, I think the ball is meant for Lallana. Martinez absolutely sells himself. Gross just dummies the ball and plants it firmly past Onana. It's brilliant football, it really, really is.
Yeah, that's definitely meant for Lallana. The reverse angle replay we're looking at on our monitor says it all. Gross does not mind, and when he latches onto it, there's a brief pause, isn't there, just to let the ball run and, as you say, bamboozle Lisandro Martinez.
Yeah, and that's what you get in this Brighton team. All over the pitch is an absolute lack of panic when they're on the ball. They are so comfortable, whether it's opening up a chance to score, knocking it around at the back, playing it into tight positions in midfield. It is honestly a joy to watch at times.
Brighton today have equalled a club record of scoring in 16 successive away league games. That was set in League One 13 years ago. They're now doing it in the top tier, which again just goes to show how much this squad continues to evolve. Even their owner, Tony Bloom, saying in a big interview he gave on the Brighton website the other day that he had no idea just how good Roberto De Zerbi was when he brought him in from Sassuolo. Obviously a really good pedigree, good boss, but when Graham Potter goes and you bring a guy in, just did not think the club would continue to kick on and evolve like it has. Even the owner admits that.
Yeah, well, he might not have known, but make no mistake, the people that pull the strings in terms of Brighton's recruitment at a staffing level and a player level, they were only too well aware.
Fair play to them. 55 exactly gone. Manchester United 0, Brighton 2. At Talksport Live. What do you make of that around the world? Keep your tweets coming in. We'll read more in a moment. Here's Casemiro trying to respond. Tries to almost volley a pass downfield. Chests it, traps it, tries to find Rashford. Intercepted fairly comfortably by Brighton once more. On this occasion, the Seagulls don't hold the ball, though, and give it back to United and to Bruno Fernandes. But Fernandes, Dave, is not in an area of the pitch to do much damage, is he? He's had to come all the way back, about 10 yards inside his own half to even get the ball. Yeah, this is a horrible situation for Ten Hag and United now. Because Brighton, that's it. You know, they don't have to attack. All they have to do is keep the ball, snuff United out. They can double up on Rashford now if they want to. I'm getting a shot of Ten Hag on the bench. He looks lost. He looks lost. And I'm looking at their bench wondering where they can go. Garnacho, Martial. Absolutely. Here comes Scott McTominay. Free scoring for Scotland. Doesn't shoot, though. Goes to Fernandes, who twists and turns inside Lallana. Not much momentum to the move, though. To Casemiro. Now Lindelof is waving his arms around, asking where to pass the ball forward. Options again are limited. It's back to being a bit ponderous and static. Fernandes lets rip. It's on target. Steele saw it late because Højlund was running across him. In the end, though, he made the save. Let's take you to Villa Crystal Palace.
Now they can get forward down the left-hand side. Quick ball from Jean-Philippe Mateta, and it's finished brilliantly by Odsonne Edouard, and Crystal Palace have found the net after just 1 minute and 40 seconds of the second half. It's a smash and grab down the right-hand side. Substitute Jean-Philippe Mateta with a cross, and Odsonne Edouard. That's 5 and 6 now for him. He's on fire.
Barry Swain with the commentary there. Villa 0, Palace 1. No Roy Hodgson, if you remember, today. Taken ill before the game. We hope he's OK. Paddy McCarthy in charge today. And his team are winning. That'll please our Palace fans like Shannon Blythe around the world. Leading by 1-0. At Talksport Live. Keep your tweets coming in. Brighton here leading by 2-0. There's a United player down and writhing around. That's Casemiro. Referee Gillett, well placed, says play on. 1-2 between Højlund and Fernandes. Højlund did well to keep hold of the ball under pressure. Ball took a ricochet from Rashford's effort over Steele, over the bar. Balloons behind for a United corner. Something to get the crowd going in the second half. There hasn't been much.
Yeah, I mean, they're not giving up United by any stretch. They are going after Brighton, but it's a very, very difficult task against a keep ball team now.
Corner swung in. In the end, it's in the side netting. Frustration continues as Højlund tried to put a bit of pressure on Steele. Didn't work from Bruno Fernandes. Z just tweeted in, tailgating in Lansing, Michigan. Good to hear from you. Ike Taylor listening into the action on the way from Atlanta to Gainesville, Florida. Going to watch the Gators play the Tennessee Volunteers. Very nice. Cody Clennett, morning from Ottawa, Canada. Good to hear from you, Cody. At Talksport Live. Let us know where you are. Brighton back in possession through Mitoma. Mitoma happy now again just to take the sting out of it after that little rat-a-tat-tat of United opportunities a moment ago. But ultimately it's Brighton in control of the game thanks to Danny Welbeck in the first half and fellow veteran Pascal Gross yet again in the second. Dave, did you have teams you just love playing against?
Yeah, West Ham. For some reason, West Ham, it was just bizarre. I can never understand why they didn't sign me.
Veltman tries to sneak one through, and for once there's a breakdown in communication. Not quite sure what he was expecting from Welbeck. In the end, that one trickles out of play, and United come again from deep. Steve Fry listening to your delightful commentary, boys. Very nice. While waiting for the start of a middle school match. What a start to Brighton's European campaign to go ahead at Man U, considering their home form. Yeah, Steve, you're right. It is a great springboard ahead of Brighton getting into Europe for the first time. Brooks Lambier Jr. Those Seagulls don't mess around, do they? No, they don't, my friend. At Talksport Live. Nearly an hour gone. Here come United, 2 down. Bruno Fernandes, the captain, tried to lead by a skipper's example. His shot is blocked. Back to Rashford, who tries to dink one in from the left edge of the penalty area, right-footed. Guess who's back making the block? Pascal Gross. Great work to Adingra. Back to Gross, who, with Fernandes on him, is happy to go back to Van Hecker. Back to Gross. Brighton play themselves nicely out of trouble. Very good.
Yeah, and that's the issue now. It's all very well Bruno Fernandes running around, trying to close everybody down, but you end up doing 2-3 people's jobs, and it's not your job to do, and all that happens is you get played around.
Keith Magnuson boating while listening to Premier League Live. My day can't get any better. Nice picture of his speedboat. Looks like somewhere like Miami. Keith, very nice. The only way my day could get better is if Brighton and the Hammers win. Anybody but the Manc teams. Well, Keith, Man United are losing 2-0 in our featured commentary. And Man City are only drawing at West Ham, so part of your dream as you jet around on your boat is potentially coming true. 60 gone. Man U 0, Brighton 2. And I can't stress enough how long it's been since United lost at home. I mean, this is very much teetering on the brink, isn't it, this, Dave Kitson?
Yeah, it really is. And it's not that Brighton have been lucky about this or anything else. They've done a real job.
Exactly. It's been a clever game plan. They've ridden the odd wave, as you would always have to, when they've needed to. They've delivered going forward and at the back as well. Christian Eriksen in field to Lisandro Martinez. Surely we're not too far away from seeing some substitutes come on. As Dave said, though, the United options are okay. They're not exactly eye-watering, though. This is better. Dalot beats his man, puts in the cross, looking for either Rashford or for Reguilon. And it was Joel Veltman, not the tallest of players, but in the perfect position, timed his header nicely, nods it behind for a Man U corner.
Yeah, Højlund's made that near post run again. He wanted it there, he's not too happy. And also, what I noticed, he wasn't too happy about somebody not attacking the ball. There's no attacking midfielder making a run to get into the box.
You've got to take that chance and show that urgency, haven't you?
How did Brighton score in the first? A late run into the box, a dummy from Lallana, and it's in the back of the net.
We're not going to see a Man U sub as yet. We're about to see a Brighton one, and Ansu Fati is going to come on. Dalot, though, from a short corner in field. Lallana and Nutema pressing out. Eriksen tries to bend one in, blocked by Welbeck, cleared by Adingra, who got there ahead of Reguilon. Brighton might fancy a third on the counter here. 3 players scurrying forward, Welbeck, Gross and Mitoma. But at 2 up, maybe Adingra wisely doesn't go for anything too desperate, too outlandish, and just plays it back in field.
Yeah, it's very sensible, dare I say, grown-up play. You just come under the cosh. United have had 4 or 5 minutes of the ball trying to attack, not very well, but they've had the ball, you've been running around to get it back, now's the time to keep it.
Ansu Fati is an incredible story. Top start, still only 20 years old. Barcelona's youngest ever La Liga scorer back in 2019 when he was 16. Run of injuries, in and out of the team. No option to buy after a 1-year loan from Barca. But this could be a move that's perfect for both parties. He is about to come on under Roberto De Zerbi, away from the pressure of the Camp Nou. Regular action, boss who gets him, team full of youngsters. Great addition to the Premier League for the next few months, and he's coming on.
Great for us. And what a great team to go to as well, to do your stuff, where you're given that freedom to show us all what you can do. Not massive amounts of pressure. When it was sort of rumoured that it was Spurs were going to go in for him, I was, even as a Spurs fan, I was hoping actually, go to Brighton. You'll play, it suits you.
So he's on for Adam Lallana. Danny Welbeck off to a good reception from the away fans and some of the home ones as well, to be fair. João Pedro, the former Watford man, is on, dropped down to the bench today. And 2 changes for Man U now as well. Casemiro comes off. On comes young Hannibal Mejbri, the young Tunisian. And on 2 comes Anthony Martial for Højlund. Højlund off on his first start. And as you say, listen to this, I don't think the Man U fans are particularly happy to see Anthony Martial on for him.
Yeah, I think as well as is what the United fans were thinking. Bring him on as well as Højlund, but don't. It's the same thing, surely.
Yeah, Højlund is probably more that central goal threat who puts himself about and is more of an all-round threat as well. And we've touched about how Martial is a frustrating figure when he's on his day, when he's on song, fit, firing up for it. He's great, but we don't see it enough.
No, we don't, unfortunately.
Pretty poor against Arsenal. He's taken off, dropped for the game, on for the final 25 plus minutes. 2 subs per team then. Man United 0, Brighton 2. Still goalless Spurs against Sheffield United. Palace still that goal up at Villa through Odsonne Edouard. Still West Ham 1, Man City 1. There's been a goal in the Fulham-Luton game finally. We'll take you there in a moment. And the youngster has got Hannibal on his shirt. Mejbri is his surname. He's just been brought down, wearing 46. Veltman was stretching. Definitely a free kick.
Yeah, not a good
definitely
one for Veltman. Yeah, definitely a free kick.
Played a couple of times, Hannibal Mejbri for United. He's away on loan, back again. Exciting young player, but the fact that he and Gore and players of the ilk on the bench just goes to show when you've lost Greenwood for the obvious reasons, Anthony for obvious reasons, Sancho for the reasons we now know. Plus you still minus the likes of Malacia, Shaw, Varane, Mason Mount. It is a long list of people who aren't here. No excuse, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's still not the worst 11 you've ever seen, but it's just, I mean, United at this moment in the season, in where they are, they need a full complement of players.
They've got a free kick here, though, for the foul on Hannibal. Taken by Rashford. It's on target, and it's one of those where he tried to hit the ball kind of flat and make it swerve and dip in the air. It was on target. Jason Steele had to have 2 bites at it, but there was nobody really following up to put him under pressure of note, and in the end a comfortable save.
Yeah, he didn't really get his foot through that, did he?
Another example of just lacking a little bit of conviction. That's kind of summed United up in many ways over the course of the game. Jeff Schmidt at Talksport Live is listening from upstate New York, saying let's go you Spurs. Listening in while he's working with his digger is JCB. And Chukwu Raphael, Brighton completely dismantling every piece of Man United. We're going a bit far, Chukwu, but they have been really good and good value for a 2-0 lead.
They've been fantastic, and the way they get out is just so easy on the eye, honestly, to watch them get out.
Through ball from Lamptey, who was booked early on and has risen to that challenge 3 minutes in well so far. Tried the through ball to meet him up. Dalot did well, looks so much better at right back than left. Now to Rashford, who's still full of intent, still full of running and trying to make something happen. Double marked there though by a combination of Adingra and Veltman. He's forced back. Take it to that Fulham-Luton goal as soon as we can. All trickles out. We'll do it right now. Let's go to the banks of the Thames.
The man on the near side, Amari Bell, plays it in. Real chance, 1-0! Carlos Vinicius picks up a loose touch from the keeper, across from William, palmed away by Kaminsky, diving out at 90 degrees from his dead ball line. His right hand just popped it out. First to react is the substitute, Carlos Vinicius, 4 yards out to wrap it into the back of the net.
Andrew Self, your commentator there. Fulham, Carlos Vinicius Jr. lead by a 1-0 against Luton, whose first season in the Premier League is proving pretty tough, Dave, at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. Not an easy place to come, that's for sure.
We'll see whether or not the Bedwoods boys can build over the season. Appeals for a penalty. Rashford goes down, convinced that he had his legs taken from under him, right in front of our vantage point, right on the edge of the penalty area. Jared Gillett was well placed, the Aussie ref. He said no foul, play on. Hasn't brandished a yellow either, interestingly, for a dive. Did you see anything in that to the naked eye?
Do you know, not a lot. I mean, there's a lot of traffic in front of Rashford there as he goes to take them on, and I just think the referee, it's one of those where they think, do you know what, I'll probably leave this to VAR if there is anything there.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing being checked as far as we're aware. 68.5 gone. Brighton still 2 up at Man United. Let's have a look at the replay and tell you what we think. So João Pedro kind of lost his man. Rashford coming in, and
there's not a lot
absolutely
there.
Not.
Nah.
Adingra's near him. There may be the tiniest bit of contact, but not enough to knock him over. And then just after that, if anything, Rashford falls over his own foot.
Yeah.
Spot on from the officials. Well done. Here come United. Martial booed when he came on. Bends one in, looking for Reguilon. And Adingra did well. You mentioned Adingra was finding the pace of the game and the intensity tough early on.
Yeah.
Youngster's done well since. He's grown, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, I think now they're 2-0 up, that De Zerbi sort of simplified their game for them. You know, you stay in this hole, you break when it's really obvious to break, but otherwise you just do a job for the team, stay in a shape.
Corner though to Man U as we tick towards 70, which Christian Eriksen will take. Rashford's come short. Eriksen doesn't use him. Goes long. Lewis Dunk, who started the game so well, he's been a quiet, assured presence we've not mentioned for a good while in the second half. There, he left the line, headed it clear. Bruno Fernandes tried to keep it in play, but couldn't. He grimaces. Erik Ten Hag, hands on hips, has got the steeliest of steely gazes as he looks across the pitch.
He's not a happy, but with the week he's had as well, he would have loved nothing more than to shove a few headlines down a few people's throats, but I'm afraid he's only going to get a few more.
Yeah, it's been very, very tough. Jadon Sancho issues. Of course, Greenwood resolved for now. Then comes the Anthony problem. Harry Maguire issues, let's be frank as well. Goodness me. It's been very, very tough Brighton play themselves out of danger nicely. Crossfield ball. Veltman. Head up around Ericsson to Adingra. Now to João Pedro. Good player. He's already scored since signing from Watford. He's been a decent handful since coming on in this game as well, the Brazilian. Good depth to this Brighton bench and plenty of players unavailable. No Solly March today, Estepinian. Julio Enciso springs to mind. He's not around at the moment. He's wonderful.
He's a player I really like.
You think about some of those guys as well. None of those even in the squad. Here's Lamptey surging forward. Tons of space. Dalot was sucked infield. João Pedro! Wonderful goal. Make that 2 for João Pedro in Brighton colours this season. Stuck a boot out at it. Lovely deft control. The power took it past Onana into the corner. It's almost an impudent finish. Brighton are cruising. They are dismantling Man U at their own stomping ground, and for the first time in over a year, surely the Red Devils will lose in front of their own. Man United 0, Brighton 3.
Well, the floodgates have opened, not just for Brighton, but 70,000 people stood up en masse when that hit the back of the net. I was just looking at the run, just the same as I was looking at Højlund in the first half. I was looking at Pedro here. When Lamptey gets the ball down, everyone's running in on Onana, and I just think you just stay out, there's space there, and he does, and what a good job he makes of the finish. Side foot, far corner. I think Onana gets hand to it, but it's not enough, and you can't say Brighton don't deserve this.
Chukwu, when you said they were completely dismantling Man U, I said that was a bit much. Actually, it's not.
You're spot on. Yeah,
fair play. Wow, absolutely incredible. Brian Peters, when can we start questioning Erik ten Hag's skill set? Falling out with players, treating club legends like trash. United's silly tactics and attitude shocking this season. Needs to do better or needs to go. And Brian said that at Talksport Live at 2-0. Wonder what he's thinking at 3-0.
Yeah, it was bordering on a humiliation anyway. That third one is just rubs salt in, it really does. Absolutely clinical from Brighton.
Wow, absolutely fantastic stuff from Roberto De Zerbi's men, who are heading to 4 wins out of 5 to start the season. Here is Hannibal, shot from distance into the corner. Great finish from young Hannibal Mejbri, the Tunisian youngster, off the bench and into the back of the net. There's a lifeline suddenly for United. There's still 18 plus minutes to go. Mejbri the scorer. Man United 1, Brighton 3.
Well, they just all back off him, and I don't really know what Brighton. He's in an enormous pocket of space, and even then he still has 3-4 touches and no one closes him down. It's really poor from Brighton, and it's a great finish. He surprised me. I thought it would have gone wide, but it snuck in that near post. Steele is absolutely furious, and he's every right to be, because no one closes him down.
Yeah, no one closes him down. Throws himself at it and couldn't quite keep it out. 20-year-old mentioned he was away on loan. He was at Birmingham City last season, back in, and he's got a very intriguing goal. Got 26 Tunisian caps to his name already, and he's done very, very well there.
Yeah,
and that's his first senior goal for Man United as well. He's got a couple for the under-21s, a couple during his time on loan at St Andrews.
Yeah,
announcing himself maybe as one to watch.
Look, the talent's there. They clearly like him. Make the matchday squad. I've seen him a few times, not massively, but I've seen him a few times, and he's technically very gifted on the ball, good energy as well. But from a Brighton point of view, De Zerbi will be furious with that. It's just the ball goes into him in an enormous